gentlemen. Our topic today is about a resolution that says that freedom is more important than prosperity. And me, as a government, I should defend this statement. Well, your freedom is your right. This is in itself just. And to deny you your freedom would be unjust. And as just right, no one can morally deny your freedom to you for whatever the ends, as has happened to billions of people. For example, some rulers and their supporters deny their people freedom by arguing that this is necessary to develop the country economically, achieve national glory, promote racial or ethnic purity, or create a communist paradise. This is to make of your freedom at all that those in power can manipulate or ignore, depending on the job they want done. This is a destructive premise that for too long intellectuals have allowed dictators and their supporters to assume. Your freedom is not at all. It does not have a utility attached to it that justifies governments in granting it or taking it away. So not having your freedom will make you a tool in the hands of others. I and many others wouldn't accept that, would you? Then, actually, when we have freedom, we can reach prosperity. I will give you a great example for that. Everybody knows Bill Gates, do you? Yes, you do. Everybody knows that he became a millionaire by developing his ability in programming. Then consider what his life would have been like in a country that allowed no freedom, such as the former Soviet Union. This is a good example at this point because the Communist Party that ruled this country placed the strongest emphasis on economic and technological development. And thus, you would think someone with Bill Gates' abilities and interests would prosper there. The party strictly limited the use of computer, all of which its own. For over a decade, it kept computers under lock and the key and under lock and key, and they could be used only with party permission. Gates, therefore, would not have had the free usage of computers that enabled him to develop his programming ability and to eventually write the program he did. So when we don't have freedom, it will be an obstacle for us to realize our dreams. It will just make us slaves to a system that obliges you to choose what it wants you to choose. Then, what would you do with money if you don't have the ability to use them in whatever you want? Let's say you have 6,000 dirhams, but you are not allowed to buy an iPhone. What is it good for then? You have hundreds of cars, but you aren't allowed to travel. How can we accept prosperity when we are not allowed to use it? It is like having all day long, 24 hours, but you are a prisoner. So actually, you won't use this time at all. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be presenting the opposition. Freedom is not more important than prosperity. First of all, let me clarify one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Because I think that we have a wrong concept in our mind, telling us that we are free. But freedom, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the right to do or say whatever you want with anyone stopping you. But I have a question. Do we do whatever we want? Do we say whatever we want? No. So you can't call it freedom unless you name it limited freedom of everything. Limited freedom of speech, of expression, of living, etc. If you say whatever you want, you may falsely accuse others or hurt them verbally. And if you do whatever you want, you must violate others' rights. This is what real freedom is really like. But that's the best thing to do. Limiting freedom of expression, for example, prevents people from falsely accusing each other or accusing others or hurting them. And if people are given their freedom, they will absolutely violate the rights of others. It's all about maintaining the balance, which means we rather have a limited, balanced freedom, because freedom would lead to corruption. Now, of course, freedom can't be compared to prosperity. Prosperity means the state of being successful or develop in a successful way, especially financially. When you have a prosperous life, you have a better life conditions. You have a job, you have a house, you have family, and you have success. And prosperity as well can give you the freedom. Being financially successful means you are in control of your money instead of it controlling you. I mean, who doesn't like prosperity? Can you imagine a lot of things that money can buy you can enjoy a lot of things that money can buy without worrying about matters related to money? Also, you don't have to worry about losing a job or saving money. Well, I accept being prosper and having no freedom than having freedom and having no prosperity. If I am financially successful and I have prosperity, I am completely independent and with no need to have that freedom which actually don't even exist. Freedom is a tool on the road to prosperity, and the tool can never be more important than the goal. Thank you.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Well, my opponents here talking about how we should limit accusing others. No, that's not right. We should let people accuse others, but actually they should have evidence or they will lose their case. So this is not a problem if you accuse others. Then she talked about success, family, and money, etc. I showed you how people can have prosperity by having freedom. And she didn't show how you can achieve freedom by having prosperity. So I should win this argument, ladies and gentlemen. Then, researchers at the Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand analyzed the findings of 3 studies that included a total more than 420,000 people from 63 countries and spanned nearly 40 years. They concluded that money is not to well-being, isn't the cause of well-being and happiness. And the same research showed that individuals with more personal autonomy and independence generally seem to exhibit less signs of negative psychological symptoms than those who reported higher levels of monetary wealth. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, we should know what is happiness. Happiness is like a matter realized in our brain. It's called, I forgot about it. Well, anyway, this matter is realized when you do something and when you achieve a goal. So when you have a prosperity in the beginning, you won't have happiness because it will become normal. You won't achieve it and be happy for it. I mean, then, in addition to that, when you have your freedom, you can call for your rights in the society. You are the one who gives the rule, the rights to rule, and you can take it whenever you want. And you, here means the people, the free people, I should say. So when we talk about medicine and other rights, it is like that we won't achieve them, but that's not true. I only ask you to look at history, how civilization get developed when they achieve their freedom. While now we can see other countries that its people have prosperity. Qatar, Emirates, Saudi Arabia, etc. They all have cars, they all bring fascinating food for their meal, but on other scales it is a disaster. On the scale of democracy, on the scale of freedom, on the scale of evaluating humanity, they are living a crisis on these scales. Prosperity has truly blinded them. So not only that freedom is better than prosperity, but also prosperity can make us only starving for surviving, only fulfilling our desires, and not makes us humans. I mean, why do you think that people in Syria, Tunisia, Egypt, all our brothers have fought for, have manifested? They have manifested for their freedom. What do you think philosophers have talked about for all these centuries? They talked about the right of people to have their freedom and not to have prosperity. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello again. My opponent is just speaking. Actually, I noticed that my opponent is just speaking about freedom, but our topic is to show that his job is to show that freedom is more important than prosperity. Well, now imagine that you have freedom and no money. What would this freedom do for you? You can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, feel free to express, but no home, no money, no family, and actually you will slowly lose the meaning of being free as long as your freedom is always limited. And my opponent said that when you have freedom you can have prosperity by expressing yourself. But we see the society is always sending people to make people who are defending their rights, they want them to shut up. They don't even listen to them. But if you life doesn't provide for you prosperity, but you have all the freedom you desire, then your life won't be worth living, and your freedom won't be even worth having. All freedom won't give you a better life. Doing what you want without having access to the most important things in life is not really a good idea. Thank you.
Well, my opponent right here. Well, this is your third speech? Or second speech?
Second.
Third. The conclusion. Yeah, she should be speaking. So this is your conclusion.
Well, as a conclusion, I think that my opponent was just trying to make freedom look as the best thing in the world. But we know that freedom is the best thing in the world. Actually, if I pass at everyone now and ask him if freedom is more important than prosperity, everyone would choose freedom. But our topic, ladies and gentlemen, is to show whether prosperity or freedom is more important than prosperity. So I think that my opponent was not clearly trying to make clear this point. And, ladies and gentlemen, I think that prosperity is very much more important than freedom. Because when you have prosperity, you have money, you have life, you have friends, and you have everything you desire. Because money can provide for you anything you want. But freedom in nowadays is not a really good thing. We see that after wars, people are struggling for their freedom. But after the war is done, after they got their freedom, what do they have? They have nothing. All their houses, all their works is destroyed. The whole city is destroyed. So after a war, they have freedom, but they have no prosperity. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I think that prosperity is much more important than freedom. Thank you.
Hello. My opponent said that I was trying to make freedom the best thing in the world. Actually, I was just showing you, which is obvious, that freedom is more important than prosperity. Not saying that freedom is the best thing in the world, but actually it is. And then my opponent said that if you have freedom and don't have money, what would you do? What would you do? You will go to work. You will go and gain money. This is so obvious. I mean, just like when you have freedom, you will be sitting and speaking. No, that's not true. You have your rights. No, I refuse. You will go and gain money. As I said, and when she was about to answer my question about how she can attain freedom by prosperity, she said that's so obvious. But how is it so obvious? It didn't make even a point. So that argument is so broken, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that I should give more arguments for this debate today, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have already won. Thank you.
All right, shake hands.
All right, hold on. You're looking.
All right. So let me just write the thing.